Hello, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and this is our May Makers with Heart collaboration, and we are featuring the As You Grow from the core catalog from Close to My Heart. In addition to the Makers with Heart celebration of As You Grow, this is also Stretch the Sketch weekend, and so the last project that I do, and I will have chapter titles so you can jump right to that if you want, will be found at the end. So there's a Stretch the Sketch out of As You Grow. So I'm just showing you here some of the papers and the Picture My Life cards. And I wanted to show this new Hope and Kindness bundle that comes out has this great stamp set and a thin cut with it. And then there's also these doilies that are in that same bundle. So basically for about the price of that thin cut and stamp set and these doilies, if you buy the bundle, I think it's $76 and change, I could be wrong, but you get all a paper pack, the die cuts, and the coordinating cardstocks, all for Hope and Kindness. And there I just wanted to show you that the doilies, the two different dies, interact with each other. So I have purchased just recently the Love Each Day Cricut digital image set from Close to My Heart, and this is one of the layouts that it has, and this was sized originally for 12 by 12 layouts or 12 by 24 because it does 2 pages. So I sized these down to 8 by 6, and then what I did is I cut everything for both of the layouts, this one and the next one that I'm doing. So I made a pile of all of the mulberry colored hearts, all of the sangria hearts, and then there's 2 different pattern paper hearts, and I made piles for those. And then using the image from Cricut, I tried to match where each of the flowers went. So I'm just kind of, if you like putting puzzles together, this is kind of fulfilling some of those joys as where does this piece go, and it was about this time that I realized that there was 2 pattern papers that I used, the plaid and the floral print. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do all my solids first so that I know, so that I can eliminate some options, kind of like doing the outside of the puzzle first. You know if a puzzle piece has a flat side on it, or if it has, the ultimate corner on it, where it goes on the puzzle. So that's what I'm doing here, is just putting in the puzzle pieces all together. And I used the floral pattern paper, the plaid pattern paper, mulberry, and sangria were the 4 colors that I used, along with shortbread and then sapphire, which are all in the As You Grow paper packs. But for the sapphire, I used the lighter shade, not the true, but the lighter shade of sapphire. And I just really like the softness that it gave this look. And these are pages for a 6x8 album that I am creating for a gift for a family member, and just a place that they can easily put some photos. And I will help them, if they send me their photos, I will help them size them to match the prints or the places that are left in this book. But a lot of people, especially the younger generation, are savvy with that already. So as long as I give them dimensions, they're pretty good at being able to print those out and just put them right where they need to go. Not sure where that extra sangria heart ends up, but we're just going to leave it off to the side. I will probably incorporate it later. And here I wanted to show you how I take my puzzle piece and enable it to be glued all together. So I'm taking the components of this off, and it's like a mirrored image. So now that I have turned it over to the back side, everything that's on the right of my heart pile goes to the left of the die cut, and everything on the left goes to the right. So it's just a mirrored image. But by starting from the bottom and working my way up, or from the top down, I don't even have to think about it. I just layer my my hearts on this die cut, and it comes together pretty easily. I know sometimes backing die cuts can be kind of tedious, but I think for me, when the Cricut already cuts all the shapes and I'm just making my puzzle and then putting it all together, I don't mind that at all. And I'm not going to have you watch me do the left page, but I did the same method. And then here I'm showing that I'm taking the sapphire ink and just lightly inking up the edges, and I'll do that to everything but the die cuts. I didn't want to die cut that or ink up the edges of the die cut, but I did ink up the edges of the white base papers and the title Forever Like This. In hindsight, I should have inked these little hearts that I'm slipping under the photo now, but life got away from me and I totally forgot about that. But that's something that I would normally do as well. I did debate about inking up the edges of these photo mats, and those I consciously decided not to, because I will attach them in such a way that they will come off the layout. When the photos get put on, if I need to highlight more of, let's say, the shortbread color versus one of the pinks versus one of the blues, I have that option to do that. And there I'm just scraping off a little bit of the adhesive that was on the heart that was going to overlap one of the photos, because I want to be able to slide the photos down under there. And these are the little hearts that came from the triangle piece on the left side, and they were just there, so why not incorporate them, kind of bring in that color and make a balanced, more balance on this layout. And then I'm using the old Bluebell sequins. Bluebell was the color of the year, I think in 2021, and I absolutely love that color. And so it has some rich blues in it, and it has those blue tones that work really well with this paper pack. So why not use what I have in my stash? If, by the way, you like anything that you see being used, like this gem pickup pencil, it's like a wax pencil, I absolutely love it. All of these things can be found at Close to My Heart, and there will be a link to my website in the description under the video. Also in that description, you will find a list of everybody from Makers with Heart who is showcasing products from As You Grow. And then in addition to that will be a list of the Stretch the Sketch hoppers. If you're not exclusive Close to My Heart, or you need better ideas or more ideas, I shouldn't say better, more ideas of how to use paper you already have in your stash, a lot of the Stretch the Sketch hoppers use Bella Boulevard and page maps and all of that for papers, and they can give you some great ideas, and those links will be in the description as well. Here I'm just gluing the 2 layers of the flower and the feather together. I end up losing, and I still haven't found, I cleaned my scrap broom, I even vacuumed and swept. I lost the set of leaves that were cut out of the floral paper. So I shaped them and then they just disappeared. So what I'm doing now is Cricut will cut all of the individual rectangles to fill this section so that it's colored in. But for me, I don't need them to do that because it's just all rectangles. So what I do is I always take my scraps and then I'll just go back in and kind of fill in those sections. And I'll do a few of them just to show you kind of what I do, but I won't make you watch me do all of them. But this is something I love to do, kind of like Jessica, I think, likes to watch videos while she stitches. This is kind of my catch up on a Netflix series or a episode while I'm doing these kind of fill in things, excuse me. So now those all done, and I love how that looks, filling in all those sections. And in hindsight, I didn't have to fill in all of them because the photo mat goes over it. So normally I probably would have been mindful of that, but again, I'm getting over COVID, and there's just a lot going on with moving across country in the midst of all of that. So I think my brain capacity was on overload, and I was happy to be able to make these beautiful layouts. The As You Grow paper with the Cricut Love Each Day just made these come together so easily and fast. I'm probably going to make a couple more layouts actually with these same cuts and just change up the colors on them and maybe the orientation, turn them 180 degrees, or even just flip them on their side. So there's lots of options when you use Cricut cuts. And I really am just following the layout that Cricut did. I'm not changing it up much. This is where I start looking for my leaves, realizing that they're not going to be found. I ended up on camera, like you can see me moving all of this stuff, and I decided you didn't need to see me picking up papers and looking at everything, so I cut that all out. And here I've decided I need something there, so I grabbed this leaf that was part of the pieces that I send for those that buy the Craft with Heart cards. And if you are a Craft with Heart subscription person, I created the cards with In Full Bloom digital collection. I added some cuts from there and kind of augmented the Craft with Heart workshop. And if you want to see those, the first 4 cards were done last Tuesday, and then the next set of 4 will be done this Tuesday, and then the last set will be released sometime around the 24th of May. So you'll be able to see my version. And I will have photos. I just took photos of the finished cards today, so I should be able to get those edited and on line soon. And here I just decided that it needed something more, so I'm just making little dots. It almost looks like stitching, but I just did circular dots all around the edge, and then I'm going all around the heart as well. And I really like it just kind of softens up the look of this project. There's so many times that I think if my gel pen were kind of in my way sitting on my desk and I saw it more, I would use it so much more, and maybe that's what I need to do, is just do that. So I'll finish up the heart here, and then I'll decide that I'm going to put some accents around the curved areas of these letters, "You are so loved." And this is a 4x4 photo holder that came in one of the workshops, so I'm just going to add that there, and then of course I'm going to bling it up with a few more sequins. And then this layout's going to be done. And so for my third layout, just to kind of give you an idea of what's coming up, I took a sketch. Janet Fritz has done Stretch the Sketch for 4 years now. This is her 4-year anniversary on that. And she said that we could pick our own sketch. So I went and found my own sketch to stretch, and instead of it being a 12x12 like the sketches, I'm making it into 2 6x8 for this album. And I have found, and sometimes I forget to do it, in fact I just did that this week when I was creating, of if you put the glue on your project and then put the sequins in it, it works really well. I had kind of dry fit all my sequins and then had to move them up out of the way, and I was trying to use my fingers to pick them up, and it was just not good. So here's the sketch that I have, and it's from Page Maps. And I just thought that this sketch with these papers, and then of course I wanted to use this lace doily, I absolutely love it, would just work really well together with these papers. So one thing that I learned with the lace doily is with my cutting machine, and it is the Close to My Heart one, I normally can put in 2 sheets of cardstock with any die, and I get 2 perfectly cut out images. With this doily though, it's 1 layer. So you put your doily in, your 1 layer of cardstock, and it punches out beautifully. Everything comes out. I'm not ripping the paper to get all the little chads and little pieces out. It just comes out beautifully. But in learning that, this piece was created that's kind of a partial, but as you can see, you're not even going to see it. And then it's about this time that I realized that I need to stretch the sketch, and I didn't want to do 2 identical pages. So now I'm going back to that plaid paper, and I'm going to kind of elongate that banner in the center. And at first I was thinking that I needed to measure it, and then I realized you don't have to measure it. Use the paper you have to kind of be your guide. So I'm cutting that off there, and then I will also cut off to the shortest part of it, just so that they're the same length. And by cutting them this way, and I also left that zip strip along the top because I'm not going to be doing stitching at this time. My sewing machine is in the garage on a shelf, and I'm trying to get things put together for our youngest has his first teen birthday party tomorrow, so we're getting ready for that here as well. So instead of using the stitches like I said for on the top of this, I just left the zip strip on there, kind of giving a nod to that in the layout. And I did run out of the 3x4 photo mat placeholders, so I just cut some out of cardstock. And I don't know if you saw, but I drew a line between the 2 pages so that I would know that center point is meeting, and then I'm just putting the line and the tip of the paper on my cutting edge and I cut those so that it looks like one banner edge between the 2 pages. And then I kind of use my fingers to line up with the edge of the cardstock, and then for me it just makes it a perfect fit every time. And I don't know if you saw, but that was a picture of my life card that's in the bottom corner, and it has really faint lines on it for journaling, so that's kind of my intention, is that'll be a journaling block down there. And then I realized that I needed some horizontal lines that are under the photos and above the journaling, and kind of just anchors where those photos are. So I grabbed some of the shortbread cardstock and just cut 1/4-inch strips. And then I'm looking around and I found that zip strip on another piece of paper, so I'm going to cut it off. But as soon as I get it next to the layout, I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. So then I decided that the scallop that's on the sticker sheet would work beautifully, but I need to adhere some of this down. So to make sure that I get the lace doily all adhered down correctly, I love using this Zig 2-way glue. And as you can see, I used just a corner of one of my multi-purpose mats that I cut down, and that just allows me to get glue on everything. And then I'm using a block because it did kind of soak through a little bit. It was a little heavy right at the beginning of the application. You probably saw that. So just using a block to smush it down kind of keeps my fingers cleaner. And then I'm just spacing these photos along the side here. And I'm not worried about cutting a photo in half or cutting it apart, as long as it's not like a full on photo of somebody, you know, like a face front photo. Most of the time your photos are staggered so that there's some empty space to the right or left. So when this layout goes together, someone should be able to pick the photos accordingly. So now I realized that I needed to drop these photo mats down onto that line of shortbread. And of course the glue from the doily is sticking and causing havoc for me, but we worked around that. And then I need to cut these 2 pages apart, so I'm going to do that, and I'll just finish here. So now we have that going, and again I need that little extra edge, so I'm using the piece from the sticker sheet, excuse me, my words are hard today, and it kind of mimics the scalloped edge that's in the sketch as well. And then I felt like this one photo to the left was just, it was kind of out in no man's land, and it needed something to anchor it and also give some balance to the sangria rich color that's in the doily on the right hand side. So I'm thinking that is working out really well. I'm feeling kind of the balance on this, and now we just get to have fun and embellish. So I'm looking at all the words. I'm trying not to do it too babyish, because I'm not sure if this is going to be, you know, like a 1 through 5 year of life book for somebody, or if it's going to be, you know, really just summer camp, or people choose how many photos they want to add to a book and what stories they want to tell. So I'm trying to keep it versatile, so that people, you know, the recipient will be able to use it and enjoy it. And again, I'm just trying to pull that shortbread color in with those flowers and just kind of have the balance. There's some shortbread in the plaid, then in the lines under the photos, and now in those flowers. I have the couple of butterflies, which totally is what the original layout had, but that butterfly needs some movement. So just I'm freehand drawing kind of where the movement of the butterfly. And now I'm going to take this Perfectly Imperfect Patterns stamp and use the stitched edge on that. And again, from the original layout, it had some stitches going out the side here. So I'm just going to do 2 rows, and messy rows are fine. It's, you know, this is not my mother's scrapbook where everything had to be lined up, and it's okay to be a little more freeform. And I'm telling you this because I have to tell myself this all the time. So this layout is almost done. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Be sure to check out all the other As You Grow projects from the Makers with Heart. Hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.